President Joe Biden recently announced in a State of the Union address that the U.S. will help Israel build a temporary pier off the coast of Gaza to allow aid in for Palestinians.
Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
Now, this will happen simultaneously as they continue to defund UNRWA, airdrop in aid that's killing Palestinians due to failed parachutes, and barely allow the aid that's already waiting for Palestinians at the Rafah border. Make that make sense. This could take up to 2 months to build, while over 1 million Palestinians are starving to death. This is the first time in history that 100% of a population is food insecure.
Again, according to the most respected measure of these things, 100% of the population in Gaza is at severe levels of acute food insecurity. That's the first time an entire population has been so classified.
The overwhelming hypocrisy can only lead one to ask the question, what is really behind the intent of this pier, and why do they continue to ethnically cleanse Gaza? Could it have something to do with the fact that over $500 billion worth of natural gas was discovered in the Gaza Marine that would have largely benefited Gazans, but then somehow Israel argued that the pipeline should run to an Israeli-controlled port? And then in 2008, against international law, of course, Israel declared sovereignty over the Gaza Marine? Could it have something to do with potential plans to build waterfront properties on Gaza, as Jared Kushner recently stated?
Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable.
I can't believe I'm even talking about that guy, but if he's mentioning it, and if we've heard whispers about it in previous months, could it be another angle why they absolutely refuse to let Gazans live in Gaza? After all, Israel wanted those natural gas reserves to go to Israel first, and only to allow Gaza to have the leftovers. And what many don't know is that 2 months before October 7th, the Pentagon began building a $35.8 million troop facility in Israel's desert 20 miles from Gaza. That's interesting. And this is an election year. While Biden seems to be unaware that we can clearly see him talking out of both sides of his mouth when it's not filled with ice cream, he is losing massive support from the majority of Americans that support a ceasefire. But rather than call for a ceasefire, he'd rather help build a pier to get in daily meals to Gaza, rather than open up a border where dozens of trucks are already waiting to unload the aid that they have for Palestinians. I'm just asking questions here, but I think it's safe to say that the pier will be serving up more than meals.